Good morning. My name's Sal Abate, Principal Officer of Local 443 here in New Haven, Connecticut. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. With the rise of online shopping, there's been a boom in the number of warehouse jobs lately. The economic benefits of this boom have not been evenly distributed. Neither has the risk. Far too many warehouse workers in our state are facing bodily harm every day on the job. It's not just a labor issue. It's an issue of public health and morality. We're happy that Governor Ned Lamont is here partnering with us to speak shortly, and then we'll take some questions. First, I want to introduce Rocco Calo, International Brotherhood of Teamsters Eastern Region Vice President and Secretary Treasurer of Local 1150 in Stratford, Connecticut.
Good morning, everyone. Let me first start out by thanking everyone for being here today. Governor Lamont, Lieutenant Governor Bysewicz, and some folks that couldn't be here with us today. Senate Chair Julie Kushner, who's been a true champion for the bill that we're going to talk about today. House Chair Manny Sanchez and Senator Martin Looney, who was the first one who introduced this bill years ago. Currently, we have 3 bills that are moving through the system, 2 Senate bills and the governor's bill, and we're here today to talk about the governor's bill. And just a little bit of background on what we as an organization, what the Teamsters have been going through for the last several years, trying to organize warehouse folks, especially Amazon. So, as everyone knows, these large warehouses are run by billionaires, most notably Amazon. What they do with their employees, the way those employees are treated, is reprehensible. Workers are judged on quotas and matrix that they don't even know about, right? These are secret quotas that they're trying to perform to because they're always constantly in fear of losing their job. These quotas, in turn, fuel the pressure that our warehouse folks feel, and it drives them to get hurt on the job. It drives all kinds of stress in their lives. It creates a scenario where the turnover at Amazon alone is well over 100%. People can't maintain the standards that are required of them. By allowing Amazon and other employers to get away with these types of practices, it creates a race to the bottom in the warehousing industry. At Teamster represented facilities, right? We negotiate fair, strong contracts, and I can't, Sal introduced me as the principal officer of 1150. 1150 represents the men and women at Sikorsky Aircraft. We have tons of warehousing within this facility. I cannot imagine, and nor can any of my warehouse workers imagine being treated the way Amazon workers are treated. Sikorsky is a thriving business, right? Amazon is a thriving business. There is no reason that these workers should be denied the ability to form a union or to create and negotiate a contract that make their lives better. The Warehouse Protection Act has been passed in several states, California, Minnesota, New York, Oregon, and Washington State. And we, with the support of the folks standing up here and our legislator, will be the 6th state to pass a warehouse protection bill this year. I can't talk enough about the support that we have at the state level here. We're extremely fortunate in this state with our state level legislators, with our federal legislators. We are a model for the rest of the country as what we should be. We put working people in this state first. It's a lesson that could be learned all across this country. So again, I thank everybody for that. I want to make a couple introductions, and we'll hear some words from some folks. First, I'd like to introduce Pat Leonard, who is the lead organizer for our joint council, the lead Amazon organizer, who covers the state of Connecticut and Rhode Island. Pat, you want to say a couple words? Thank you.
Thank you, Rocco. Good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick Leonard. I'm the lead organizer for Connecticut and Rhode Island for the IBT's Amazon division. Today, I want to talk about the dark side of one of the most powerful corporations in the world, Amazon. We all know Amazon as a convenience, a giant that offers quick delivery, competitive prices, and nearly endless choices. But behind the shiny exterior of innovation and convenience lies a far uglier truth. Amazon has built its empire on the backs of exploited workers. Let's start with the most obvious problem: Amazon's treatment of its warehouse workers. These warehouse workers are pushed to the brink with unrealistic quotas, often working 10-hour shifts or more with little regard to their health and well-being. To meet Amazon's impossible demands, employees are pressured to move at breakneck speeds, performing repetitive tasks in unsafe conditions. Injuries are rampant. In fact, Amazon workers suffer serious injuries at a rate nearly 50% higher than other warehouse workers in the industry. And yet, Amazon continues to prioritize speed and efficiency over worker safety, often downplaying these incidents or refusing to provide adequate support for those hurt on the job. But it gets worse. Amazon's obsession with productivity is so extreme that workers are under constant surveillance. They are monitored every minute, tracked by algorithms that measure how many items they pick, pack, or ship per hour. These systems don't care about the human cost. If workers fall behind, even for legitimate reasons like taking a bathroom break, they face reprimands, punishment, or even termination. Yes, people have been fired for simply taking time to relieve themselves. Can you imagine the inhumanity of that? And let's talk about wages. Amazon has made record profits, with Jeff Bezos becoming one of the richest people on the planet. Yet, despite the company's vast wealth, many of its workers earn a wage insufficient to survive on, often close to the minimum. These workers, many of whom spend their days in grueling physical labor, struggle to make ends meet. It's a clear case of profit over people, where Amazon hoards billions of dollars while its workforce is barely scraping by. Even Amazon's gig economy model, which it champions, is a form of exploitation in itself. Amazon Flex drivers who deliver packages on their own time are classified as independent contractors, meaning they're not entitled to benefits like health insurance, paid time off, or unemployment protection. Amazon offloads its responsibility onto these workers, making it easy for the company to avoid paying fair wages or offering any kind of security. Workers are left vulnerable, struggling to make ends meet while the company rakes in profits. Let's not forget that Amazon's workers are often treated as disposable. During peak periods like Black Friday or Prime Day, the company hires temporary workers, only to let them go once the rush is over. This cyclical exploitation creates a revolving door of labor, ensuring that Amazon never has to invest in building a loyal, well-compensated workforce. Instead, it takes advantage of workers for a short-term gain and discards them when they are no longer needed. At its core, Amazon's business model thrives on the exploitation of its workers, who are treated as nothing more than cogs in the machine. The company's prioritization of profits over people is clear. Amazon's owner, Jeff Bezos, regularly praises his company's innovations, but the reality is that most innovations come at a devastating human cost. In conclusion, Amazon's success is built on the back of workers who endure unsafe conditions, unfair pay, and exploitation on a massive scale. The company's drive for efficiency, profit, and control has come at the expense of basic human dignity. We must hold Amazon accountable for its mistreatment of workers and demand change. The true cost of Amazon's success is the people who suffer to make it possible. And it's time we start recognizing and pushing for real reform. Thank you very much.
So, and the media has probably covered this before, but we've done days of action with Amazon. I hold as a prized possession. So with that, Susan,
Thank
please.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rocco. Well, good morning, everyone, and how about those Yukon Huskies? Well, I want to say thank you to our host, Teamsters Local 443, for having us this morning. They represent more than 3,500 workers in New Haven and Litchfield County, and we appreciate all of their great work. And I want to thank our governor for bringing forward this important proposal that will help thousands of warehouse workers across the state of Connecticut. So since the pandemic, our lives have been increasingly moved to the online experience. And consumers now, instead of having to go to the store to pick up whatever item they need, increasingly go online to do their shopping. And so this demand has pushed warehouse working to become one of the fastest growing industries in our state and in our country. And there are more than 2 million people across the country that work in warehouses. And as this demand for online shopping grows, customers want that same day delivery, and companies like Amazon are pressing workers with hard to meet productivity goals. And what's sad is those quotas are very dangerous, and workers don't even know what they are. And these quotas back very hardworking people into a corner. They have to choose between their job and taking a bathroom break, or they have to keep working and never get to eat lunch or dinner because they're worried that they're going to be retaliated against. And as a result of this breakneck speed that they are expected to work under, injuries have been skyrocketing, and injuries among warehouse workers are twice what they are in the private sector. So I am very happy to be here to be supporting this important legislation. Once again, our state is leading in the area of workers' rights and protecting those who work hard every day to support their families. We are very proud to be home to a very highly skilled workforce, but we think it's time to stand up to warehouses, which increasingly have been located all across Connecticut. The governor and I have visited Amazon warehouses in North Haven and Windsor, and while we like having them, we really need safe places for our warehouse workers to work, and this bill will go a long way toward helping that. It's very common sense. Of course, we should be protecting workers from injuries and making sure that they have humane and safe working conditions, and I'm proud to be here to support it. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Susan. Last up, I don't think he needs much of an introduction, but I'm going to do a little bit here anyway. So, again, another true friend of labor, whether it's helping out at Sikorsky Aircraft, Pratt & Whitney, Electric Boat, any of our public sector unions. He's been there for us constantly. You know, we should know that along with the warehouse worker bill, we also have what's called the captive audience bill, which again, we were one of the first states to get that passed. And it's in no reason other than the folks standing here behind me. And with that, Governor, please come up and say a few words. I appreciate everything you're doing here.
Thanks, Rocco.
Look, really proud to be here with you and Sal and all the Teamsters. Love you guys. It was sunnier in Tampa yesterday, by the way. It was a pretty nice day. Sorry about that. Just incredibly moving for Connecticut. Just the passion you saw, everybody wearing their swag. Yukon Huskies, he's waited in the red light. And seeing, Gino and Paige embracing at the end, you really see what teamwork is all about. And that's what we're here about today. I don't know if we're going to see Rocco and Jeff Bezos embracing, but
I would welcome it.
but I do think we look out for each other. And I think we've fallen down in that relationship in terms of some of the bigger warehouses we see. What'd you say about the incredible turnover, people not lasting a year there? What'd you see in terms of the injuries? Susan and I have been to a number of these warehouses. They're big. Like, what is it, 66 football fields big, and everybody's all robotized and driving around. And God, I said, you do all this on an iPad. And no, it's not an iPad. It's Kindle. Okay, whatever. This is really, we got to make sure that workforce protections or workplace protections keep up with the way the world is changing. And I saw how different that space is compared to maybe what a factory was like many, many years ago. But you still have to look out for your workers. And I think that's what a good management's got to do. And if they're not doing it, we're going to stand up as a state and stand up for each and every one of you and what you mean to the state going forward. And Susan, I think we better do it because I don't think you're going to see it coming out of the White House in the very near future. So I just want to repeat, this is what it means. And that captive audience thing, I think it's more important than ever right now. We've got a lot of politics all over the workplace, and that's just not appropriate. I want people to be able to do their work with the security and safety that they deserve and no fear of persecution. Anyway, that's why we're here today, fighting for each and every one of you. And thank you on behalf of Susan and myself for everything you do for the state of Connecticut.
So we have all these experts to take on-topic questions.
Governor, a version of this bill didn't get much traction last year. Can you address how you personally, your understanding of this issue, how it has yielded the administration putting forward bills is in addition to Senator Lindy and Senator
I think the world is changing. I think you see what the changes going on in Washington, D.C. I think there's a little harsher relationship between labor and business in some ways. I want people to work together, like I said, in terms of teamwork, and where sometimes we got to give a nudge, we're going to give a nudge as a state. So that's why I was happy to help take the lead on this.
Walk through some of the points where the governor's bill and the bill workings that's sort of gone through labor are different, and some of the points that you want to emphasize in your legislation.
Sure. You know how they're different. I'm not an expert.
Well, I
Ours
just
is better.
I think it's important that workers have information about what the quotas are, and our bill emphasizes making sure that people can take bathroom breaks and meal breaks, because you can't have people working 8-10 hours at a clip without eating and using the restroom.
Rocco, is there anything in the other bills, I don't believe there's anything in this one, that would enhance the ability of labor to organize? That's obviously been an issue in addition to the working issues.
So let me answer that this way. As we talked about it, I mentioned, right, there's no Amazon workers here because they're afraid of retribution. It's one of the reasons why it's so difficult to organize in that industry. If we pass a bill, right, and the state's behind it, organized labor's behind it, it shows those folks that they don't have to be as scared as they are, right? That we're working with the state, we're working with state government. It could make it easier for us to organize from that aspect. Again, as I mentioned, there's 3 bills out there. We're all in the same team here. So at the end of the day, we'll take a look at the 3 bills. I'm sure we're going to come up with a compromise for one bill that we're going to go forward with and that we're going to get passed, because it's time. It's time. We owe it to those warehouse workers. As I talked about, doing days of action and stuff, they know we're here for them. They're just scared, and we need to take that fear away from them.
Are you close to having enough cards signed to have a vote in any of these places in Connecticut?
So I think, Patrick, you want to grab that?
We're still building a movement of workers in the state of Connecticut. You know, really working with them to educate them on what their rights are in the workplace, what their options are out there as well, and what the path is forward for them to organize and what organized labor looks like. You know, I come out of UPS in the same industry as these Amazon workers, so very familiar with warehousing and the logistics industry, and comparatively to what UPS workers are getting under their union contract is night and day in comparison to what the Amazon workers are getting.
Could you talk about that for a second, of what one of those conversations might sound like with a young Amazon worker who's not familiar with the process of collective bargaining? For example, you mentioned UPS. There was a huge news cycle about the UPS contract. Give us some of the points that you're telling those young workers about what UPS was able to get with the Teamsters versus what they had before.
It's really basic education. You know, a lot of the workers are unaware of what a union actually is. You know, they're unaware of what their Section 7 and 8A rights are. You know, so it's really starting from the ground up and helping them understand that they have rights in the workplace to join a union, form their own union. You know, and really starting with the basic 101s of the union benefit.
On the politics of this, have you received any or had any conversations with lobbyists, trade associations, CBIA, for example, about this, not just this bill, but this constellation of labor bills working their way through the legislature right now? And what do you make of it? We've talked in the energy context. You seem kind of bothered with the lobbying effort from Eversource and the utilities. Do you guys feel the same sentiment toward Amazon lobbyists, tech lobbyists, and
I haven't had that much lobbying on this. I just think it's the right thing to do. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I just want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for coming today. I want to thank the Governor for coming, flying back from Tampa last night. Appreciate you being here. You know, for those that don't know, about probably 10, 12 years ago, you know, all us locals met up in Connecticut when the governor was first looking to run. We met with a few different candidates. We, as the Teamsters in Connecticut, chose to back Governor Lamont, who wasn't the governor at the time, and he's always been behind us every time we needed him. So we appreciate him partnering with us on this bill, and thank you, everybody, for coming here today.